Unbelievable. Really. Hey everyone, it's me Doomlink and welcome back to Doomlink's Live Hunts. I was just faced with an issue with OBS that I have never seen in all my years of using OBS. For some reason my desktop audio had defaulted to something different and it refused to allow me to connect to Twitch while recording live. Maybe it's for the better. I mean, all of my audio, how do you call it? Volume bars, dB, scales, whatever, were lighting up and showing that it was receiving audio, like OBS was receiving audio. But I went and checked my settings and it actually had my desktop audio highlighted in red, suggesting that it wasn't picking up any sound. So I don't know why that was even the case, but I went and selected the sound device that I wanted selected, and then it was all sorted out. Done. Now I'm live. Hi. I am in Monster Hunter Freedom 1, ready to hunt with a group of people that I've never hunted before. I haven't hunted with any of these people before, except for perhaps Janalgaz, which would be... if I had to think about it, I've probably only hunted with him once or twice, possibly on camera. Anyway, let me just get my chat up. What a nightmare. So this is actually the second time that I'm doing a PC recording. The first PC recording that I did was just yesterday, actually. And it was what I would call an unsuccessful attempt at doing a PC recording. It was my first time doing a PC recording in using my new setup. And it didn't really work, because I was positioned far too distant from my actual display that I was having to read off when communicating on the Discord chats and all of that. Whether it be Discord or Twitch, I was having to basically squint at the text, and over a long period of time, it was giving me a headache. I didn't like it. So I had to shift my position, and then when I shifted my position, all hell broke loose and everything collapsed. My world around me as I knew it was essentially crumbling. My entire paradigm had disintegrated into dust, and the recording was subsequently, and possibly hitherto, also unfit for YouTube VOD uploading. So there you go. Here we are, attempt 2 at a PC recording, and I'm glad to say that it's something slightly more interesting than Portable Third. I've got nothing against Portable Third, but being able to hunt with people in Monster Hunter Freedom 1 is, in my opinion, a little better. It's a little more interesting to watch. Not as many people take time to play it, and not as many people take time to record it. So I think that there is some value in doing this. To be completely honest, I would like to be playing some 3 Ultimate, because it now actually feels as if I have a limited amount of time in which to do that. It's one of those games that has always felt like it was going to be shut down at any time, but I think 2023 is going to be the last year of Nintendo supporting online play on that console. It may not be true, I don't know, that is what the rumors are purporting at the moment, but you know, it's cause for concern, and what it also encourages is for me to play more 3 Ultimate, so that I can enjoy it while I can play with people on the official servers. I do have every intention of, at some point, porting the save over to the 3DS, then dumping that 3DS file onto my PC, and then emulating the game. That's definitely going to happen, but I'm not going to actually do that until I'm not able to play on the Wii U anymore. And that time may actually be fast approaching. All I can hope is that 3 Ultimate will be much easier to emulate as compared to the likes of 4 Ultimate. I think I can rest easy and be personally assured of the fact that that game will run much more smoothly than 4 Ultimate. Of course, 4 Ultimate runs terribly on account of the variable frame rate. That is really the cause of the issue. As far as I'm aware, 3 ultimate and double cross run fine. Anyway, back to Freedom 1 conversation. We are currently fighting Besarios. My personal desire is that we're not going to be finding ourselves grinding the same monsters over and over again. If it... No, actually I'm not even going to make this part of the Hunting with Purpose series if we find ourselves hunting the same monsters over and over again. I really don't know. It depends on how this room is being organised. I don't know if we're doing just one person's quest, or excuse me, one person's quests, plural, or multiple people's quests, but the more people are choosing, the more likely we are going to have an even spread of hunts. Hello, Kudamin and Seven. I believe I know who Seven is. I think he is the Seven from... That's not to say that he's called the Seven, but what I mean is that he is the person that I know to be Seven from the Hunsterverse server. Of course, I do have my live streams up on Hunsterverse. No, not PS Level 3. I'm going to have unreasonable recoil with PS Level 3. In the earlier games, PS Level 3 is actually not really the best idea because the amount of time it takes to load PS Level 3 and also the really high recoil actually makes it not the most viable shot type. PS Level 2 is balanced, robust, and one of the best shot types of the early game. But PS3 does have its place in certain situations. Well, you don't need to miss Freedom 1, Kudamin. You can go and play it now and there'll be nothing to miss. Because you'll be playing it. But if you don't want to play it, then I guess you will have to continue missing it. I don't have to worry about missing it. As you can see, I am partaking in the joys of Freedom 1 as we speak. Only pros play Freedom 1. So what you're suggesting is that at one point in time, you were a pro, and now you're a casual. I would almost say that that is an adequate way to describe myself, but I wouldn't actually ever describe myself as being a pro at any point in my history. I mean, I used to take the game pretty seriously. By the game I do mean the series. The game in question was Try. I took that game pretty seriously because I played it a lot. But after burning myself out on Try, from having played it too much, I became a bit of a casual. So I guess it's not an entirely absurd notion that one can go from being professional to really not professional. The word is unprofessional, Doomlink, thank you. Well, that's our first hunt completed. Getting a whole lot of iron ore. I'm likely getting to the point where I can't carry much more iron ore. Stop it. I don't think I'm really in need of Macaline. I suppose I can start swapping out my... Why do I have flaming shots in my inventory? What is going on? Did I purchase those? I hope that they're left over from a previous gunning experience and not... or previous gunning venture, and not something that I purchased before this hunt, because that would be quite illogical. Alright, let's find out what we're doing next. I'm interested. My Discord capture will need to be updated. We're doing this again, are we? Well, let's give it a try. What's it going to come up with? Fucking nothing is what it's going to come up with. Sometimes OBS is just barely functional. And I don't know what to do when it doesn't want to function. Basically, discord.exe, oh now it's appeared in the list. Discord.exe was not appearing in the list, so I couldn't actually capture the damn thing. Now I can. Oh, Indio is here. Well, there you go. I'm going to inquire as to what we are hunting next. That way I can get ready. Of course, I still have a lot to do in Montana Freedom 1. Maybe not a lot to do, but I'm quite far from actually feeling as if my character is complete. We're doing Kutku? Okay. It's not especially exciting, but I would actually rather do Kutku than another Basarius. So that's actually fine. Beggars can't be choosers, so if I'm not getting Basarius, I'd better enjoy whatever it is that I'm getting. Although if it were Fatalis, I probably wouldn't be jumping for joy. I'd be doing very much the opposite. Now, Kutku. What would make Kutku fun? How about lands? Let's do some lands. I don't think I've actually lanced on camera before. Don't do this. See, this is really, really unintuitive. The idea that editing your equipment set comes before equipping your equipment set in the menu. That's ridiculous. Why would I want to edit it before equipping it? Capcom really did need a lesson in common sense between first generation and second generation, and obviously the generations in the future after that point. Anyway, murder all Kutkus. Hello, Vernon. Yeah, I'm not really a Kutku fan either. I'm quite happy to kill them all, but I wouldn't want to hunt too many of them, otherwise it would get really boring. And of course I skip up, let me rephrase that, I skip through the eating animation by speeding up, because I can't actually press a button to skip it. That was first introduced, I believe, in Freedom 2, maybe Freedom Unite. As for DOS, can't speak for it. Oh, goodness me. This setup, by the way, I actually didn't end up discussing my current setup. I said that this was my second attempt at doing a PC setup, and I had indicated that the previous attempt was a failure. What is it about this attempt that's not going to be a failure, you ask? Well, actually, did I put my stuff away? I did not put my fucking stuff away. How terribly negligent of me. I'll be back in a moment. Sorry, team. Basically, what I'm doing differently right now, and this is actually very interesting, is I'm mimicking the original PC setup that I used to have in my old space, which I updated to be better than it was, but in the case of this new space that I'm in, the old style PC setup actually works better. Now, I'm not going to get really specific about it, but suffice it to say that this is working a lot better already, and I'm quite happy with it. I'm actually going to remove this iron ore. I want to limit it to 2 stacks. I don't need more than 2 stacks. More than 1 stack is a little gratuitous given the circumstances, but definitely 3 is totally unnecessary. No, stop it. Selling that, I'll also be selling my ammunition, I have no need for it. And that will hopefully do. I don't remember if you showed me that Kutku statue that your friend made me. I think, I do have vague memories of having seen it. But I have no memory of what it actually looks like. Alright, the team is together. Now, I don't have many options in terms of lances, but fortunately the one option that if I keep going back instead of making selections, it's because I'm used to pressing circle to make my selections at the moment. I've been going back and forth between Generations Ultimate and Portable Third. Both of those games have circle as the select button, provided I'm using a PS3 controller. with both games, which I do, actually do. Didn't want to say do twice, but I couldn't structure the sentence any better, so that's what you get, unfortunately. But yeah, here I am in a game where it is X to select, so now I have to get in the habit of doing that. What a delight. How hard is it to just make the select button something consistent? Something logical? In case of the Japanese, it's always been that button on the right. But for some reason, when they changed to... I don't know why, but I suppose the cross button for Westerners just makes more sense as the select button, and I'd have to concur with that. But anyway. As far as where Kutku is, it looks like... Oh no, he's here. I'm not even going to explain why that confused me. Okay, I'll explain it because now you're probably curious. I saw that my eye icon next to my name, to obviously indicate that I'm actually in combat, because I was seeing the colour yellow, I had misconstrued that to mean that Sapphire was in combat. Now, of course, that's completely ridiculous, especially if you're in any way experienced in the Monster Hunter games, but sometimes when you're a little distracted by crapping on about things, you can make really stupid misinterpretations. And that would be an example of one. Now, of course, Lance is much like it is in any other game here. You are very much at risk of being annihilated by your teammates. You just have to hope that you can either position yourself in such a way as to avoid their attacks, or hope that they are conservative in their positioning and use of their weapons. What I mean to say is that they're not just going to attack endlessly and ignore what's going on with you. Hold on, I need to position myself on the head. Please don't flinch me, because I'm probably doing the most damage here. In fact, I'm almost assured of that fact. Let's say fact a few more times. Doomlink repeating terms. Thank you. I'm sure we're all better off for it. Null is using the Meteor Cannon, at least as it was referred to in Freedom Unite. I forgot what it's called in this game, it might be the same, I don't know. But it's a pretty good normal heavy bow gun as I recall. See, I did back hop so that I could get myself out of the range of that tail, but the very tip of it touched me for full damage, so I'm happy with that. I wonder if Capcom would ever entertain the idea of adding a certain complexity to damage calculations. Id est, the part of the monster hitting you actually will change the damage. Now, of course, at the moment, and it always has been this way, it depends on the actual attack being performed. But what if you added an extra damage calculation that changed depending on where that part of the monster was, or where you were hit? You know what I mean. I didn't actually quite mean what I just said. What I mean is, like, if you're hit by the very tip of the tail versus a more full part of the tail, the former should deal a little less damage. And that's the idea that I have in my head. That's probably a little bit too complicated. I don't know much about game design. That might add a certain unnecessary complexity to the damage calculation system that would be unwelcome not only to the people designing the game, but also to those on the user end side. Excuse me, end user side. Have you ever thought about making your own Monster Hunter game? No. I've never entertained that idea, because I would need to have at least some basic understanding of how to make a game, and furthermore, Capcom were the ones who made this. So it is Capcom who has to further the Monster Hunter franchise in whatever way they can. If they abdicate responsibility by releasing a game that caters to people who wouldn't play the series, then that's their choice, but quite frankly, it's not my place to go making Monster Hunter games if I don't agree with them. Hello, Crimson Gunner. It's good to see you as well. I'm going reasonably well. I'm happy to be in Freedom 1, and obviously happy to be back doing recordings. That much is obvious. Hello, John Ross. I'm pleased to see that you finally made it while I'm live. I saw that you kept missing the streams, but I do welcome your welcome back. I receive it with great pleasure. We'll see what the next hunt is, but first and foremost I will go and eat. Actually no, before I do that I will go and harvest what pithy, well perhaps not pithy, but we'll see what tiny amount of honey I can harvest. Well, 2 is already pretty damn good. That's probably it, huh? 2? Whoa, 3, what's going on? It's my lucky day. I can't believe it, I got 3, guys. Must be because I haven't gathered it at the honey box for a while. 3 honey, holy shit. There's nothing wrong with taking time away from Monster Hunter, Vernon. It's a good way to recharge. And it lets you come back with a fresh perspective as well. If anything, is to be encouraged. We're about to find out what the next hunt is. Oh, great. So, one of our hunters is going to take 30 minutes to take a shower. So, the way he's phrased it is almost to suggest that we're going to have to wait for him to take a shower. The reality is that that is not going to be happening. Because he was asked, what's the next hunt? And he said, I'm going to shower first. Well, guess what? We'll be hunting in the meantime. Possibly Cephadrome? Possibly, let's find out. Petri dish? No. I must have typoed whatever I was trying to send. If we do Cephadrome, I don't mind. If he's in need of Cephadrome materials, then I can do it. I'm just confirming that it's G rank. I do just want to focus on G rank quests if possible. Actually, that's a silly question because he's been joining for the G rank quests we've been doing so far, so if he's described it as his key quest, needless to say, it would be a G rank key quest. Alright. Presumably water weapons would be ideal, so I might equip a water greatsword. I will go with this set. I will be sure to paintball the monster. Plesioth Azure Blade. There we go. Now, of course, sonic bombs are not just helpful, but actually essential. They are a requirement of this hunt. The only problem is that I don't really have access to sonic bombs immediately. I actually have to put screamers in my inventory. I'm not going to put that many. I'm going to put 10. And then I'm going to have to buy bomb casings and then combine in my inventory. Fortunately, screamers do stack to 99. That's very generous of Capcom to allow me to do. But, let me rephrase that. I can't fucking talk today. It's one of those days where I can't talk properly. I was actually performing much better yesterday, but today, I don't know. I just keep misspeaking. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, so it's not you who sells bomb casings, it's the guy who's walking around the village. Excuse me, it's called bomb material in this game. For first and second generation, that is what it is called. Fuck it, I knew it. I've remembered it wrong. Do I have it in the combination list? Check materials combo list. Please be here. Sonic Bomb, come on. I've never made a Sonic Bomb in this game. Are you kidding me? I suppose it's technically possible. You know what has happened? Instead of making Sonic Bombs in this game, I've just been bumming off what they give me in the box in various quests, and I've been hoarding them, but I've since run out. And, yeah. I've never made one. I can't remember the Sonic Bomb combination. I can't believe it. I think in 3rd generation and beyond it was Screamer and Bomb Casing, but it has indeed changed. Oh, it's Gunpowder and... well, presumably Null is actually watching the live stream. I think he's telling me to use Gunpowder and Screamer. Very well. Let's do that. I've already purchased the fucking bomb material. I'm going to sell it because I'm not putting it in my box. I'm not taking up that space. Alright, Gunpowder it is. I think this guy sells it. Where is he? Here he is. Fortunately, he infinitely walks out of that entranceway. I do have Psycho Serums in my inventory. I wish this wasn't taking so long. I do apologize for how arduous a process this has become. Oh, fuck off. Where is my Gunpowder? If you don't sell Gunpowder, everyone's gonna die. I sadly don't have Gunpowder to assist in this inevitable conflagration, but maybe I have some in my box somewhere. Gunpowder? No. No Gunpowder. Well, you know what, guys? It's up to you to fucking Sonic Bomb. Seriously. Because I can't make them. I wish I could, but I can't. I did what I could, and my best wasn't good enough, and we're going to move on. Seriously. Hey, Baines. Anyway. My memories of the old combinations sometimes fail me. John Ross asks if Freedom 1 is worth playing over the original Monster Hunter. For people who are used to the newer games, the general answer would be yes, if it's a question of should one play Freedom 1 instead of Monster Hunter 1. In my honest opinion, you would actually be better off getting used to the PS2 controls. They will feel utterly awful at first. They're not going to be comfortable, they're going to feel really unintuitive. You know, you'll be carving with X, or cross, whatever you want to say. You'll be attacking with your analog stick. You'll be opening the box with cross. You'll be doing weird shit. It's not going to feel right. But if you get used to it, it's actually kind of fun. You almost immerse yourself in the archaic form of Monster Hunter, that which is first generation. This feels a little bit like second generation because you're controlling the game in the same way as you would in second generation. But there are a lot of issues unique to Freedom 1. First and foremost, Freedom 1 does have less content than Monster Hunter G. If you're playing the first Monster Hunter game, you're ultimately going to want to carry your progress over to Monster Hunter G. In order to do that, you do have to actually have a save file that is the Japanese Monster Hunter 1 save file. So please play the Japanese Monster Hunter 1 with an English patch. It's going to feel like an English game, it's not going to feel patched. The patch is actually quite professionally done, and I would recommend that. If you carry over to Monster Hunter G, you will have access to an online city mode, and you'll be able to hunt with people there, and again, there is more content, and honestly better content. The reality of Freedom 1 is that you will not only have to deal with less content, and you won't have Mindguard City, you will also have to deal with the terrible input lag that is associated with the buttons that you'll be using to control your character and the game with. I don't know what that's about. It seems to be much less of an issue in the Japanese version of Freedom 1, which is Monster Portable. But yeah, not recommended for that particular reason. Yeah, so the controls of Monster Hunter 2 are the same as Monster Hunter 1. The reason why it is advisable, Crimson Gunner, to make a save in Monster Hunter 1 before transferring to Monster Hunter G is because in the end game of Monster Hunter 1 you will have access to quests that at this stage you actually can't access in Monster Hunter G. When I say at this stage, it relates to what quests that we have available when playing online. As I recall, we don't have access to either Kirin or Crimson Fatalis online in Monster Hunter G. And you can get materials from Monster Hunter 1 that can be carried over into Monster Hunter G that will allow you to craft G rank level gear of those monsters in Monster Hunter G. Now, I might not be 100% correct in all the detail of what I just said, but it's roughly that. That's the reason why Monster Hunter 1 is the best thing to start with, and as well as that, you get to see a little bit of progression. What I love about Monster Hunter 1 is that it's all this dark brown sort of theme, and then you move to Monster Hunter G and it's all green. It seems that green is the colour of G rank. That's why Freedom Unite is green. That's why Monster Hunter G is green. I don't know what that's about, but yeah. The brown theme of Monster Hunter 1 is so effectively rustic that it actually enriches the experience. I prefer it. Anyway, I think we'd better fucking ready up. Sorry for taking so long. I don't think we're getting Jinalgas. If he is coming, then he's taking his sweet time. I'll leave it up to Null. I held off a little bit on playing Monster Hunter G, well, Monster Hunter 1 by extension, because of the suggestion that Monster Hunter G would be coming to Steam or whatever. I don't think that has, as of yet, been substantiated to any reasonable degree, but if it is true, then it does, you know, give me reservations about putting time into an emulated version on a PS2 emulator versus playing a slightly more modernized version, but I don't know how they would do it. I don't know if it would actually be considerably modernized or not. Of course, my initial suggestion was that it was going to be similar to what Monster Hunter G on the Wii was from 2009. I would say that if it came to Steam, it would be similar to that. It would play more like second generation than first generation. Would I want that? Probably not. I probably should put time into Monster Hunter 1 again and eventually transfer to G. I think it would be a good thing to do. Hello, A-Gaming. Alright, well let's depart, Null. There's no point waiting. I do apologise for the downtime, everyone, but at least I was able to give comprehensive answers to the questions laid out in the chat. I do intend to play Monster Hunter 2, but I wouldn't prioritise playing that over Monster Hunter 1, and I don't quite know why. To be honest, I've experienced a lot of Monster Hunter 1 through my experience with Freedom 1, whereas Monster Hunter 2, as in Monster Hunter DOS, is filled with so much stuff that just doesn't exist anywhere else. So I don't know why I prioritize the Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter G experience. I suppose it's because it really is the most authentic expression of early Monster Hunter. It feels so different to everything else, it's amazing. When you develop a thick enough skin to deal with the supreme bullshit of first generation Monster Hunter, you come into PS2 Monster Hunter, specifically Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter G, I guess 2 is included in this as well, when I say that it just feels so alien compared to even Freedom Unite. Freedom Unite is just on another planet by comparison. Anyway, let's depart. Let's get out of here. I'm hoping to God that these guys have sonic bombs. If they don't, then we're in for hell on earth. Absolute hell on earth. Let's see what we can do. I don't know where he's starting. I now know. I didn't need to wonder for two. Oh, it's two fucking Cephadrome. I can see another one in the distance over there. Well, as long as I was about to say as long as I only engage this one, but I can see the other one swimming closer and closer. Oh, well, thank you for the paralysis. That is much appreciated. Seriously. I hope the game's not too loud. I might actually lower the volume just slightly. Just in case it is slightly too loud. I really don't know. It's probably alright. I just don't want to run the risk of it overpowering my voice or anything like that. Do we have anyone on the sonic bombs? I'm going to have to stand by these guys so that we can be in position to all attack the same Cephadrome. Let's get in there and flinch him properly so that he can't get back into the sand. We want a heavy flinch where he's flopping on the ground if possible. I don't think he was sonic bombed to come out of the sand, but he might have been. Yes, Monster Hunter 2 multiplayer is something that a lot of people in the classic Monster Hunter community are waiting for. It will happen eventually, but not for a little while. And I do eagerly await the time it comes. In fact, you know what? That probably really was the main point of me prioritizing Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter G. It's because I can actually play online with those games. Whereas Monster Hunter 2 is not really a game where I can do that. It's not a game where anyone can do that. Are you kidding me? How did that miss? Oh. Bastard. You're not finding the right one. I suppose it doesn't matter, they both need to die, but come on. Alright, we'll focus on this one for now. I very much appreciate the sonic bombs. I mean, it has to be explained that I didn't come in here without considering bringing sonic bombs. I considered it, and I tried my utmost to make them, but I couldn't, so yeah, sorry. Coming in here without sonic bombs is basically refusing to contribute to the hunt. If you've got a sonic bomb, you have to throw it, because otherwise my dear audience are going to have a front row seat to what it is like to hunt Cephadrome without sonic bombs in first generation Monster Hunter. See what's happening right now, where they're basically swimming in a circle? This will never stop. Unless we do that. Unfortunately, Consus was actually flinched by a Cephalos, preventing him from attacking, but at least I could get an attack out and flinch the monster out of the sand. You're a very well designed monster, Cephadrome, really. You're someone's opus. And he's dead. And I will get my calms, because I'm wholly deserving of them. Fuck off. I can see you, Cephalos. I got out of the way by the skin of my teeth. Yeah, first generation Monster Hunter, if you're used to second generation, really does feel like almost a beta version of Monster Hunter. So many things are similar, but so many things are also just totally different. It's really quite amazing. I don't know where the other Cephadrome went. He either went in that direction or this direction. I'm going to give this direction a try. Actually, I don't even need to wonder. I do have Psycho Serums. Okay, he did go this way. I'm going to ping. I actually have to go into gestures to send what is called a beacon. I hope that Null doesn't think that I'm pinging him to come my way. I'm instead telling Consus to come my way. But yeah, you don't just open the menu and press triangle or square or whatever, no. You have to actually go into your menu, then open the gestures menu, then you can ping. Great. But you know, you wouldn't have questioned it back in the day. It's just how it was. Now I might have been a little bit dramatic about the idea of us not having sonic bombs. It is very annoying to not have sonic bombs, but admittedly we are doing a lot of damage to these insufferable bastards, so... Even if we were only hitting them occasionally as they made a pass under the sand, we'd still kill them pretty quickly, I think. In fact, I don't even need to theorize on that point. I think we've just seen a demonstrated manifestation of that very theory, which has served as a very clear indication that we are dealing a lot of damage against these monsters, and yeah, there's no real need to freak out if we don't have sonic bombs. These two are using a gesture that actually disappeared after first generation. It's called footwork. Why they got rid of it, I've got no idea, but they kept all the other ones for 3 generations after this generation. So in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, all of the gestures remained untouched and the same, but for some reason, nah, footwork's gotta go. Can't have footwork. I don't know, maybe it's offensive or something. I doubt it. That would sound about right, Crimson Gunner. I can't remember the specifics of that, but that's probably about right. My head has not been in 1st gen recently, so my memories start to leak out my ears. Not in any way that you'd be able to visually see, but that is what's happening. Well, that was deeply enjoyable. I'll tell you what, if you're ever unsure as to whether or not you're playing a Japanese game, just look for the Sakura tree, honestly. If there isn't a Sakura tree, there's a good chance it's not a Japanese game. Because their obsession with those trees is noteworthy. Well, give it a try. If you want to really have the ultimate first generation experience, play Monster Hunter 1. And do what you can... Well, actually, no, if you've already played Monster Hunter 2, then you're in good stead to appreciate first gen, because you won't have to be sitting there just ripping your hair out over the ridiculous controls. Let's see what our next hunt is. No. Looks like G-Rank Basarios might be our next hunt. In which case I will bring a sword and shield because I've already gone ranged. I'll keep with this armor set. I'll bring the Odyssey Blade. It's nice to see the history of the weapons too, because some of them have really stood the test of time in the series. I wouldn't be surprised if this sword and shield existed in 5th gen. I don't remember it existing in 5th gen because I have very limited experience with 5th gen, and quite frankly, the experiences that I have had with it on a subconscious level are trying to be overwritten by happier and I guess, more life-enriching memories and experiences. So I'm not entirely sure, but anyway. Hunting Horn in Monster Hunter 2. That sounds like fun. Yeah, I experienced a bit of bow in Monster Hunter 2. It's not that great, but again, I think you can get used to anything. If you can get used to first generation Monster Hunter plus Monster Hunter 2, I think you can get used to using a bow with analog stick controls. As for Gunlands, sounds a bit weird. It all sounds a bit weird, I suppose. The reason why is because analog stick controls are inherently weird. But there is a charm to them when you get used to them. Something that just can't be replicated. Unless you're actually playing those games. Consus is using probably the best water lance in the game. It's definitely the one that I want to make. It's called the White Disaster. It's pretty good. What I find in first generation Monster Hunter is that when you're going through the different weapon types, or rather, let's say you're looking at one specific weapon type, and you want to make different elements for that weapon type, you'll actually find perfect equivalence, stats-wise, across the different elements. So you'll find a lance, for example, that has the exact same elemental and raw damage value as another weapon with a different element. For example, as I recall, the White Disaster shares the same raw value and elemental value as the Basarios Lance. If it's not the... or is it yeah, Basarios Lance, I think. It's one of those weapons. But anyway, the point is that you will find that very often in first generation Monster Hunter. They don't vary the stats all that much with the weapons. There is definitely a variety, but it's just not as varied as some of us might be used to. Now, both Basarios are actually located in the same area over here, but one of them will be buried in the ground. It's that one over there. You can see the darker shaped rocks. We don't really have to worry about him popping out. We just don't want any gunners to hit him, and we don't want to bring the fight close to where he is currently dormant. Of course, I'm quite willing and happy to use Sword and Shield because it's so damn good in this game that you're almost never going to bounce with it, which makes it a very good choice against a monster like Basarios. Sword and Shield is just a monstrous weapon in first generation. I think it's designed to be a noob-friendly weapon. People who are not willing to venture beyond Sword and Shield are rewarded with a very strong weapon. People who do venture outside of that have to actually work for their success a little bit more. Sorry, Consus. I'm really not representing myself well here by constantly flinching the lance user. Typically I am quite careful to avoid that, but not today apparently. I do think that this will go pretty quickly. The three of us are dealing very good damage, and of course these Basarios monsters do have reduced health. See, if anyone wants to complain about old hitboxes, sometimes they can be very fair. And indeed, I'd like to think what you just saw was an example of that. He's already dead. I'll be getting my carbs if you don't mind. Of course, I'm not going to stop someone from engaging the other one, but... I'll be focusing on carving, thank you. I don't have any bombs to draw. I don't know if anyone's got a good wake up. Not really, let's just go for it. I wonder if this Basarios now finds itself developing a sense of foreboding to dive out of the ground and see a dead Basarios standing next to the targets that he's now set for himself. I think you'd hesitate a little bit at that point, wouldn't you? Huh, do I really want to end up like him? Well, what I can assure you of, Basarios, is that no matter how things transpire, that is the end result. It is a foregone conclusion. It is a material inevitability. Yeah, it's worth mentioning that you can't actually use items with your... Can't fucking enunciate, pronounce, or speak a coherent sentence today, and I do apologise for that. You're not able to use weapons with your sword and shield unsheathed in first generation. That was first introduced, I believe, in DOS. Well, I believe, Crimson Gunner, that Sword and Shield was first nerfed in DOS. I could be wrong, it might have been Freedom 2, but it would make sense to me that it would be a generational change. But if I do know Alpha Team, they don't always have much of an eye for balancing. So it might have been Portable Team working on Freedom 2 that eventually decided to weaken Sword and Shield's damage output. Ah. Yeah, that's right, I remember that, Crimson Gunner. One of the directions on the analog stick actually just automatically used items with the Sword and Shield out. Actually no, it wasn't one of the directional buttons, I think it might have been X or something, like cross I think did it. Whatever it was, I kept on accidentally pressing it, I remember that. I think it was cross on the PlayStation controller. Like I would use it to do something else, and then I was using items instead. It was awful. I actually had to stop using Sword and Shield because of it. Well, I don't know, Crimson Gunner. Oops, I just bumped my webcam. That should be alright. Just the use item button? Well, whatever it was confusing me. I kept on accidentally using items, it was just awful. That's what it was. I think I was pressing square to try and sheathe my weapon, and I was consuming items instead. It might have been cross to sheath or something stupid. I don't know. Maybe it was cross to sheath and I was habitually pressing square and consuming items, something like that. I can't remember now. I had to step away from Sword and Shield in DOS because of that. It was driving me absolutely mental. I was more of the mind to use bow in that game than sword and shield, and that's saying a lot. Good hunt though, we got through that nice and easily, as I would expect. Sorry about that sound. Occasionally my controller will disconnect, so you'll hear that sound. It's basically, well, it's, as most of you would be aware of, it's the sound of a device being connected or disconnected from a Windows 10 machine. In this case, it is my controller. So what you're saying is that the power of Sword and Shield is specific to Monster Hunter Freedom. That was my misunderstanding. I honestly thought that Freedom was the same as all the first-gen games as far as the damage that you could have with Sword and Shield. Okay. Well, I'm not really all that surprised to hear that the damage of Sword and Shield in Monster Hunter Freedom was basically a glitch. Oh, Yuli is here. Maybe he wants to play. Hopefully it's not Basarios again for the next hunt. I think I'm all Basarios'd out. I've technically fought 3 now. Fuck. The thing is, these guys, they love to grind things, and that there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that because I am recording, I really don't want to be hunting the same shit over and over again, but fine. Let's do another Basarios. What should I equip to make it fun? Oh great, my controller's acting up again. Just 1 second. I'm sorry you have to hear that. It must actually be rather immersion breaking to hear computer noises while watching me play an old Monster Hunter game, but whatever. Well, here's the question. Is second generation Sword and Shield weaker than Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter G Sword and Shield, or is it the same? That's what's important for me to know. I'll bring the Guild Knight Sabers. How about that? The question was, is second generation Sword and Shield weaker than Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter G Sword and Shield? Or is it the same? Well, this is the thing. You've described the damage of Monster Hunter Freedom Sword and Shield being a mistake. Something to do with porting Monster Hunter G to the PSP. So I can only imagine that the comparison between second generation and first generation for me being just downright incorrect, because it's not generational, it's specific to Freedom. I've always compared second generation Sword and Shield to Monster Hunter Freedom Sword and Shield damage-wise. And I've always called that a generational comparison, but it's not apparently. So anyway. Basarios take 3, but it will be our 4th. And 5th, possibly. Most likely, actually. Anyway, it's good to learn these things so late in the fucking game. Yeah, Freedom 1 is special in a bad way. honestly. It really was a terrible port, in so many ways. Not the most remarkable attempt. Alright. Now, I suppose the biggest thing about dual blades versus sword and shield is that immediately when you use dual blades, you feel that they're weaker. They are so obviously weaker than sword and shield that you're almost entirely disincentivized from using them. Because again, as we have established, sword and shield is bugged and is too strong. So, yeah. You are intentionally handicapping yourself by using dual blades in this game. But whatever. And that's fine, Vernon. I appreciate your care in asking the question. I don't really consider touching on Elden Ring to be super off topic, because I do think that Souls and Monster Hunter overlap in many ways, certainly in terms of the people who play it. I wouldn't therefore go into in-depth Souls discussion because of that, but I probably won't talk about Elden Ring. I already mentioned a little bit of how I felt about it, I think in not the last recording, but the recording before it. And yeah, I don't really have too much to report. Look, I will say that I enjoy Elden Ring, and that's about all I'll say about it. There are things that I like and things that I'm not so sure if I like. At the very least, I'm not sitting here playing it and wishing that it never existed. There are certain games in a certain series that I do feel that way about. Unfortunately, Elden Ring doesn't feel that way for me. Yeah, dual blades are especially bad because in this generation of Monster Hunter, if you're flinched while in demonized mode, you will still lose stamina. So let's say, for instance, I'm in the middle of attacking a monster while in demonized mode and it roars. Well, during the entire time that I'm holding my ears while flinching to the roar, I will be losing stamina. It's ridiculous. Some guys at Capcom are like, well, technically you're still in demonized mode. Yeah, well, technically, you guys don't know how to make a video game. You know how to make a nice story concept, but a video game? No. I don't think so, somehow. They're so focused on concepts, but they don't actually think about how it applies in a video game. It's like they never actually tested the game at all. They never sat down and actually played the thing that they created. This Frankenstein's monster of a fucking RPG that has unique and timeless and quite lovely elements, but also in other regards it's quite honestly a manifestation of chaos. And not in a good way. One thing that I don't like about first generation Monster Hunter is that I just don't feel like I can make as many armor sets here. I technically can, but due to the nature of armor skills and the different armor pieces you can craft, and also the lack of decorations and talismans, I think one of the good things about modern Monster Hunter is just how much more choice you have when it comes to making armor sets. Here it really is kind of lacking. It might be to do with how I play, I don't know. But I just don't have a particular reason to make a whole lot of sets in first generation Monster Hunter. But, you know, that sort of thing might not be important to some people. For me, I like to be incentivized to change my loadout to suit a particular weapon type. And I also like to feel like I need to change an armor set to suit a specific hunt or something like that. There is less of that the further back in time you go through the series. Well, it's as you say, Baines. The way in which I approach Monster Hunter is to have armor sets that are not just used for one specific scenario. I want armor sets that can be used in multiple scenarios, because I don't want to be changing constantly, and I also don't want to put the time in to make something that's extremely situational. I'm not really into that. I don't mind having it focused on a specific weapon type, but very rarely will I have it focused around, you know, one specific hunt in the whole game or something like that. So yeah, the way things are here I'm comfortable with, but it wouldn't be my preference when it comes to Monster Hunter. If you're wondering why it took me so long to actually start doing my demon dance, it's because I was pressing the button combination, but they refused to. And by they, I guess I mean the RNG gods of first generation Monster Hunter, or specifically Monster Hunter Freedom 1, decided that I was not going to get my attack out. Probably going to take the hit here. Yeah. It's actually not too damaging, so I should just take it every time, so that I might get in position faster to deal damage. If you notice there, I did continue to lose stamina while Basarios was roaring. Let me just say that I really do hope that this is the last Basarios hunt. This is starting to get quite monotonous. I don't mind doing it in my own time, but when I'm trying to record for the entertainment of an audience, yeah, it does wear on me when I'm hunting the same thing the whole time. I'm not really a fan. Come on, drink it. If you've noticed, in this entire recording I haven't actually used a Mega Potion. It's not because I'm so good that I don't need to use Mega Potions, it's because I'm being extremely conservative with their use. Because honey is like gold in this game. In the first instance, you're not going to be able to just sit back for an hour or two and just grind it and then have a big stash of it in your box, because you don't have the space to store very much of anything in your box. And on top of that, you're not going to get much of it each time you go to get some. So that deadly combination of not being able to get much when you try to get some, and not being able to effectively store it, means that getting honey is not that easy. And what it does is it exponentially increases the value of the Mega Potions that you consume in a hunt. And to be completely honest, oh fucking hell, I keep bumping my tripod. It's because I'm not used to this setup. I'll get used to it, believe me. But yeah, I would say that the knowledge that using a Mega Potion is a last resort actually encourages you to play a little better. I do think it's a good design. Getting used to second generation and how that works, specifically Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, does leave you a little spoiled when coming into this game, but I do think it's a good idea. It's a good way to avoid coddling the hunters. Yeah, there are of course many broken loadouts that exist in first generation Monster Hunter. They exist in all generations of Monster Hunter. Specific combinations of weapons and techniques to use those weapons that just destroy monsters. It's fairly normal. It is the Monster Hunter way. Capcom can't account for every single weapon's damage. You'd think they'd be able to, but they can't, so we have to live with it. I'm just going to check to see if I do have space for Carbolite ore in my box. I seem to recall that I don't, but I'm not sure why. I guess I have a single stack and I'm unwilling to make another stack. Is that what it is? I think that's what's happening. Let's have a look. I've already gone past it 3 fucking times. Okay, so I've made another stack of it, but do I want another stack of Carbolite? By the looks of it, the answer to that is no. I don't think that would be a good idea, given the considerable dearth of space in my box. I'm going to sell the Macalite and Carbolite. I should be able to put away the other stuff. Yes. Let's find out what's next. Looks like Zirun is back. What the hell is this guy doing? How long does it take for him to... Oh my god. Oh, maybe he means cooking meat in-game. He did just say that he was making food, I think. Or getting food. So I thought that might have been referring to him actually cooking in real life, but maybe not. A 10-minute toilet break. Jeez. I mean, you would just say 10-minute break, wouldn't you? Do I really need to know that you're going to be sitting on the toilet for 10 minutes? Too much information, thank you very much. And for better or for worse, it has now been broadcast to my entire audience, so there you go. Anyway. I probably sound like a bit of a doofus just asking what hunt. Ad infinitum. But I do want to know. The sooner I know, the sooner I can get ready for the hunt. And that sounds like an efficient way to play to me. Oh, fuck me sideways. 2 Cephadrome. I will register my discontent and leave it at that. I don't really want to do 2 Cephadrome. What pisses me off the most is that we've been fighting monsters that are weak to water over and over and over again. Kaku, weak to water. Cephadrome, weak to water. Basarios, weak to water. What the fuck? I'm sick of this. What was the first monster that we fought? It was probably also weak to water. I can't remember what it was. It was... Oh, I guess it was Basarius that we did first. Okay, so yeah, every single monster that we've actually hunted thus far has been weak to water. That's not cool. I'm sick of this. I'll bring a hammer. I'll bring the King Lobster hammer. Actually, no, I'm going to bring the Nocturne Gigaton. Why is this not... What? Isn't this a higher rarity? You know, first generation is such a curious thing. For what reason is this not sorted by rarity? Like, it would give you every indication that it's sorted by rarity, and then next thing you know, it goes from rarity 6 to rarity 7 and then back to rarity 6 again, and then it begins at rarity 7 here, and then it's all rarity 6 again. I mean, why? What's that about? Obviously the... whatever the filter is for sorting here is not strictly what the rarity is. It has something to do with where the weapons appear in the crafting list, no doubt, but it's bloody confusing. I want the Nocturne Gigaton, thank you. Many thanks. Yes, I am coming. Fucking first gen. Oh, how little sense you make. Now, the Nocturne Gigaton is a hammer that I would not recommend using unless you have sharpness +1. It will not have any blue sharpness at all if you don't have sharpness +1. And I would say that using it with green sharpness would probably mitigate the additional damage of this weapon. It is not light bow gun time. Cephadrome isn't weak to water. Hello? I suppose the reason why I thought that he would be weak to water is because he's actually weak to ice. And I've just made the sweeping estimation that anything that was previously weak to ice is weak to water in this game. That's generally the case. As far as I'm aware, Kidian is weak to water. Rathlos is weak to water. So, why the hell they've decided that Cephadrome should be weak to fire or thunder, I don't know. Whatever. All I can say is that first generation Monster Hunter sometimes makes me rather sad. For reasons such as this. Alright. My green screen is fucked. Let's move that, thank you. I'm too much in the corner, I need to shift myself. Very awkwardly. And in a very incremental fashion. I will join up on the quest and then I will get another beverage. Normally I do just have a beverage on hand, or rather, you know, something to continuously pour into a glass, but this is white wine, so I'm refrigerating it. It requires me to go and get it out of the fridge and all of that. And we've got a Thunder Tip. Yeah, Thunder Tip. It's actually not fully upgraded, but I have to say that's a nice looking armor set. High grade earplugs, sharpening skill increase, detect, and Spectre's win. That's a fucking nice set. I think Zurin still is not able to join, is that right? Okay, cool. Zurin actually seems to be ready to go, I think. Hold on, who is in this guild hall right now? Because we were hunting with Consus before. And, oh no, maybe Sapphire is that person. Yeah, Sapphire is Zurin. Fucking hell, it gets confusing with these people when they have like 10 different names. Okay. Just needed to make sure. So I think I'm safe to ready up. I'll go and get a beverage. I'll be back in a moment. I'm being accosted by Apsaros. Hold on, I'm still getting ready. Ugh. Alrighty. If you wanted to have a nice shot of Apsaros' ass, you're getting it right now. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it would be technically possible for me to die to Apsaros. But I'm not taking that long, fortunately. Oh god, I just had the pleasure of looking inside of the Apsaros just for a brief moment there. I very much enjoyed that. Alright. Sorry that I don't have sonic bombs, I really should have them. The fact that I don't is a borderline insult, and I need to go over there and deal some damage to this Cephadrome while it has been thrown onto the surface by a sonic bomb. He just wanted you inside of him. Yes, I'm sure he did. That's why he was shoving his ass in front of the camera like that. I don't think I needed to see that, and I don't think any of you needed to see that, but that's what we saw, and we have to live with the cards we've been dealt in this life. That was very nice of you, Cephadrome, to dive into a solid rock and then swim around inside of it for our entertainment. Can't complain about him not... Oh, hold on. I need to drink a cool drink. Of course, there's no actual indication that you need to drink a cool drink, except for the fact that you're losing health. Your health bar doesn't change colour or anything like that, no. You just start slowly losing health. I mean, of course there is that indication where you're doing this, but whether you've consumed a cool drink or not, you'll be doing that. So it does get confusing. I don't look at that and automatically think that I haven't consumed a cool drink when I'm playing first gen, because it's there no matter what. Confusing would be the word that I'd use to describe that. Can we just appreciate that I don't believe... Okay. It's fucking dead. I'm pretty sure that I have not made contact with a single monster since this hunt began. Admittedly, I was away for the first half a minute to a minute of the quest having started, but I feel like I'm leeching. I haven't contributed at all. Whatever, I'll take my carbs. Oh no, he's using the ugly... never mind. I thought it was a different lance that Consus was using. He's still using the White Disaster, so that's fine. Yes, I'm a leecher, I'll admit it. I was inadvertently leeching. I did not intend to do it. Doesn't seem like we have a Cephadrome in this area, so we'll have to go over here. Of course, I'm not obliged to go in this direction, but this is the fastest route. Okay. There is our target. Let's try and kill him in this area if we can. It'll cut down the time of this hunt if we don't have to follow him. Please don't hit me out of this golf swing, please don't. I know this monster too well, honestly. Which begs the question why I went for it in the first place. I can't help myself. I pressed the attack button. It's so timing based that if I don't get the attack out, I'm in trouble. Fuck. No. I want a golf swing, please. I am now inside of the Cephadrome's body. And I also missed that golf swing, but was successfully hit by what I believe to be a Cephalos. This is not going my way. I am again barely contributing. I just thought I'd check in with you all and update you as to how I'm going with this hunt. At this stage, they would almost be better off without me. I'm telling you, I barely did a thing. I barely did a thing. I may as well have just sat at camp. Seriously. I'm embarrassed. It wasn't for lack of trying, but yeah, I did fuck all. It's a sad day today. But what's not sad is that I have calves, and I'll take my calves. In the most shameless way possible. I don't really need Cephadrome stuff anyway. I mean, I say that, but it's... sometimes you don't really know if you need something or not until you actually properly delve into the weapons of the game and realize, oh, actually I need a Cephalos Fin Plus, or whatever it's called. I did get a couple of hits in, literally a couple. No, not literally a couple, but it was definitely closer to 2 than 20. Definitely. Piscine Fangs as well. The reason why I'm not taking the Monster Bone Plus is because I do have a full stack of 99 of those. Or at least I did when I last checked. I might have used some, but still, I'm not going to take them for now. Hello, just got a Gold Crown Large. I'm going to screenshot that and post that. You better believe it. Very nice. That's an achievement, I would say. Now, for the benefit of those who are unaware, there are no Gold Crown Smalls in first generation Monster Hunter. The only Gold Crowns are for the large size, which sort of takes the fun out of it, but I suppose if you're one of those people, I actually intended to save, but I didn't, because I'm defaulting to pressing circle to select like an absolute Neanderthal. Anyway. Yes, I suppose having to think is rather complicated for Doomlink. Now let's have a look and see how we are going with crowns. I'm in need of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 crowns. Now, I might actually be missing some monsters from this list. In fact, I'm almost certain that I'm missing some monsters from this list, but I do believe I've purchased I've purchased all the info that I have access to, but the last time I checked, I was missing 1 or 2 monsters. Maybe I'm not missing any monsters that actually have an available crown to get. Of course, crowns do not apply to monsters that have a set size. God, gonna have to fight a few more Basarios to get a crown, clearly. That was very good, though. Zurin and Consis are going to dupe some max potions together. What's going on? Are we really going to do Fatalis? I don't want to. I have no interest in doing that. What's wrong if we try? What's wrong is that we're going to be wasting our lives doing it. But if you really want to, then sure. I don't mind. I do mind, actually. Every fibre of my being has no desire to subject myself to that bullshit, but whatever. Should I use the Black Ruiner Sword? I don't know. I'd probably be better off using a gun, because we're not going to have the proper paralysis and eternal schisms strategy running, so yeah, we might have to settle for the Shining Wyvern Blade. Not the Shining Wyvern, fuck me sideways. I want the Black Ruiner Sword. Doomlink just reads out the first thing he sees and decides that that's what he wants to equip. Well, actually, no. Actually, no. Fucking stupid. I'm just having one of those days. Excuse me. Now, in case anyone wanted to know, Sword and Shield on a Fatalis is not fun. But in case you wanted further clarity on that point, nothing versus Fatalis is fun. You have more fun or less fun, but not truly fun. Or maybe more painful and less painful, that's what I would say. That sounds about right. When do we get to see the one and only Elder Dragon, Yian Garuga? Well, I've fought Garuga a few times on camera. Whether or not I'll fight him here, I don't know. Probably not. Oh, I need to put away my stuff. Oh, well, thank you. Bane sent me here. You look cool, so I wanted to say hi and follow. I have to leave though, but I'll catch you later. Well, it's good of you to say hi, and I hope to see you again soon. Alright, I've Super Cat and Charisma. I'm going to need more than Charisma to get through this crap, but I think it's worthwhile doing it on camera, okay? It's just we'll be here for a while. If we've got a full team, then I feel a little better about doing this. I have to say that I have no recollection of using a sword and shield on a Fatalis in 1st or 2nd gen Monster Hunter, but if I were going to do it in any game, it would have to be Freedom 1. It would have to be. So here I am. Let's go. The King of the Elder Dragons, the Black Dragon. Not just the Black Dragon, but the Densetsu no Kuro Ryu, which is probably not what it's called. I don't know, maybe. It could also be Kuroi Ryu. You know, just to furnish you all with a Japanese rendition of the Black Dragon. Anyway. I'm not ready for this, and I don't think any of us are, but we're doing it anyway. And... oh. You're Hunter Rank 3, I didn't realise. I keep forgetting that Hunter Rank 3 is technically G rank in this game. It's kind of crazy. Basically, what we're doing is the Hunter Rank 3 Fatalis. It is a Fatalis quest that appears in the first list of G rank quests in this game. And I think he has to be killed in the first attempt. I don't think we actually get a round 2, 3, etc. If you fail, that's it. There is no repel option. That's my recollection of this quest. As you can see, it says slay the Fatalis. Now that should be fairly self-explanatory. We have to slay it. There's no other option but to fell the beast. Which incidentally does not bode well. There's also a version of Fatalis that has a 15-minute time limit. I hope it's not this one. I hope it's not this one. I mean, in the end, it's better to fail 15 minutes into a quest than 50 minutes into a quest, but... anyway. Zurun is having to... I don't know. No, he's here, sorry. I keep losing track of who's who. I'm sick of playing this stupid game of guess who the person in the Discord chat is on screen in the hall. I would like it if we could all have the same damn name. That would be great. I've got 2 hunter names and they are both reflected in my name in Discord. Not complicated. Anyway. Here is Conses. Better that you prepare yourself fulsomely for the upcoming hunt than to do so inadequately. Alright. So what have we got? We've got some... excuse me. No, that's not the flaming pear, is it? It totally is. It's fucking Raytheon and Rathalos dual blades. Well, he's not doing any... excuse me, no. Fire is a secondary weakness, so that's perfectly fine. Eternal Schism, good. Meteor Cannon, good. Let's go. Here I am about to shit-talk this guy for using something that is actually elementally effective. Hello? Can we not do this right now? It's already going to take ages for us to do this hunt. I don't actually want it to take ages to get into the hunt in the first place. Well, it's pure. It is actually pure unadulterated bliss, Vernon, when you realise that you don't have to keep fighting that terribly monotonous dragon anymore. If you've soloed it successfully, that's it. No time to do that again. That's an achievement that needn't be repeated. It seems that there is an expectation on the part of Null to actually die, and he says he has 17 defense. I suppose his only comfort is the fact that we might be getting one shot as well with much more defense than he. I think what's most concerning for him is that the tail swings are probably going to be really damn painful. Alright, let's go. Original Fatalis. What you'll find is that his main difference is how he turns to look at you. The way he turns to look at you is slightly different. It's not as obvious where he's turning. His target isn't as clear. And his tail swings differently also. It coils a little bit more, it doesn't actually swing horizontally in the opposite direction to where he's turning. Which means that it's actually easier to avoid being hit by. I'm not voluntarily watching this cutscene. All cutscenes are unskippable in first generation. It is the identical cutscene from second gen. Oh yes, I do recall that Twitch has blocked everyone from Russia. I'm sorry to hear that, Paul. I hope you don't have too much money that's being withheld from you, but yeah. I won't comment on it because it's a political subject, and I try to avoid that sort of thing, but obviously I do support those who aren't, you know, involved in fucking on-the-ground combat in the Ukraine, so yeah. I'm sorry that you're having a hard time with that. So basically what I have to avoid is not being in range of Fatalis when he goes on all fours, because that's probably going to almost kill me. That, what he just did right there, just going on all fours, is practically an attack. And it's a fucking damaging attack at that. This is awful. This is already just terrible. I hate this. You see, that's a form of attack right there. He flinches you and then he goes on all fours while you are actually flinched by the roar. Now, fortunately, I was not in a position where he could have hit me, but still, that's bad news. Sapphire is currently the victim of permanent, repetitive going on all fours. That is the name of that attack. That is the best way to describe it. And it's ridiculous. I mean, what kind of confrontation is this? He just went on his hind legs, went back on all fours. Hind legs back on all fours. Hind legs back on all fours. I'm tongue twisting myself, apparently. And then he flies vertically in the air, flies back down, then flies off somewhere else. I mean, this is precisely why it is very difficult to keep yourself mentally alert to hunt this monster efficiently and effectively over a long period of time. You're not going to be thinking straight by the time you've done this for 15 minutes. Now imagine if you've been doing it for 40. It's almost incomprehensible. It's just a complete joke. Come on. Get on the ground, you damn dragon. Now I have to be careful, I can't commit too much here, he might go on all fours again. Oh, don't stand in front of him, he might go on all fours and kill you instantly. Yeah. See, even doing that is so fucking dangerous. See? And I touched his tail while he was doing the snap and drag. Oh god. Fatalis. Yeah, there is one area. It has two parts to it. Fatalis at some point will decide to just go and fly off. It's on the other side of that big gate. It's not going to change the experience at all. It's going to be the exact same fight. But apparently we need to watch Fatalis fly up in the air, go over to the other area, and then slowly fly down. All it does is drag on the fire. That's it. It has no other meaning outside of that. Oh, shut up. Don't get caught in a snap and drag. As long as there's no snap and drag, we might be okay. We might survive. There you go, got a flinch. I feel like I'm actually doing something. Only to be immediately faced with pressing the circle button upwards of 3 times and not having my character do the round slash that should accompany the pressing of said circle button. See, that's what happens when I have Fatalis go on a fire. What would you have me do? What would you have me do? I was stuck in an endless going on all fours attack. Well, I'm sure it has an end to it, but it caught me. I mean, what I should have done was whipped out my shield. I do have a shield attached to this weapon. I could have made use of it. I do not have a max potion or an ancient potion on me, so I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. Oh, he's flying off. Okay, great. Oh, he's already over here. I see. I happened to just go in the correct direction. That's fine. Anyway, I don't even care that I died because I almost feel like I couldn't have gotten around it. Maybe if I had decided... Oh. Well, thank you very much, Nali. You are incredibly charitable, and you've even gone so far as to give me 2. I thank you for that. Really. That's very good of you. I do keep forgetting that you're actually here and watching the live stream. I appreciate that. For all the vitriol that I hurl at Fatalis, this is still better than White Fatalis, okay? Because White Fatalis is... See what we're dealing with here, none of us can reach him, okay? White Fatalis is that, but a whole lot worse, because what White Fatalis does is he actually flies off. He will actually fly off in some distant direction, and then waste everyone's time. He just arbitrarily decides, oh, I'm quite content to go and fly off somewhere. You know, we've got a hunt to deal with. We do want to eventually succeed in killing you, and you're off flying on some scenic journey through the clouds, doing fuck all. Of course, it is supposed to eventually lead to fireballs being, well, in the case of White Fatalis, lightning balls being thrown in our direction, but they never make contact because they're so far away from us that you have a lifetime to evade them. So it's very much like Around the World. You know, Around the World for Rathalos existed all the way into 4th gen at least. I mean, I don't know if it's in 5th gen, I don't remember, and I don't care to remember. But it was in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th generation, and it really was this blinding anachronism in 3rd and 4th generation. It felt like something that didn't belong, because all he does is fly around and then he misses you anyway. So it's entirely pointless, it just wastes time. Now, it makes sense if that's an attack that exists in 1st or 2nd generation, but by the time you're in 3rd generation, it's wrong. Everything about it is wrong. And then by 4th, it's like, what's going on? I shouldn't be going for the face, I'm just getting flinched anyway. That's not a mark against the team, I understand. But I'd like to be able to get a few hits in. Among the Blade Masters, I am the one dealing the most damage right now, so... Speaking of dealing the most damage, I need a sharpener. That would help. Fucking Fatalis. Alright guys, we're in a really bad place right now. We're in a really bad place. We are one death away from failure, but we've got so much more time left to fight this monster. The very worst case scenario, ladies and gentlemen, is us spending another 30 or more minutes fighting this monster, and we just fail anyway. But that is the nature of this game, and that is the nature of this fight. What? Well, look, I'm not much of a fan of Bloodborne either, Paul, but it's not something to get all that excited about. It's not something to make personal attacks over, that's for sure. This is probably going to be the last hunt of this recording, honestly, because it's going to go on for so long. I don't mind that being the case. It's always good to have a Fatalis hunt or two on camera. It's an experience. Of course, a very well-organised team, which this is not, will get Fatalis done pretty quickly. But again, that's not happening right now. How's my new home? It's great. Things are going well. I'm very happy with it. It all happened rather suddenly, but it all went in my favour, and yeah. I'm just glad to be back in a routine of recording again, because I wasn't doing that for a while. And it feels weird when you want to do it but can't. It's one thing to feel like you need to take a break, but that wasn't really how things transpired. I literally had to take a break, and I was forced to take a longer and longer break the more time passed, where I was unable to record, because I didn't have things set up. But again, that's a thing of the past now. Oh. Well, thank you for dying sooner rather than later, that's all I can say. Consis didn't just die, he fucking rage quit. That was a nice rage quit. I mean, seriously, it could have been so much worse. It could have been so much worse. That result is perfectly fine. In fact, I welcome it, because we could have continued for a long fucking time, only for us to have failed anyway. Us, like, if he was going to die, if that was inevitable, if that was some preordained reality that couldn't be escaped, I'm glad that he did it now. So, thanks to him dying now instead of later, I can do a few more hunts in this recording. Probably one more. It is what it is. Really? This guy is comparing... Ugh, that's sickening. Talk about a shifting of the tide. We're in first generation Monster Hunter, and we're comparing this to Iceborne. 2 years ago, you would not have experienced that on this server. That sort of comparison did not exist. Not at all. Let's do some Gypsyros. I'm in the mood for a monster that's weak to fire. Now technically I just fought a monster that's weak to fire. But that would be a secondary weakness. We're about to fight a monster whose primary weakness is fire. So I will go and organize a fire weapon for myself. I will continue using this particular armor set. The only time that I use my auto tracker armor set, the set that has sharpness +1 and auto tracker, is when I'm fighting monsters that are either going to fly around all the fucking time, like Kutku, Garuga, Rathalos, etc. Or if I'm just fighting two monsters in general, and I want to be able to keep track of both. In the case of this hunt, I'm quite happy to use this set again. Let's use the Rathalos Fire Sword Plus. No wedding music. Yeah, well, there's no wedding music because we failed. In fact, very much the opposite to wedding music just played. The music that plays when you fail a quest in this game sounds like you've just failed the world. It's the most depressing shit in the history of gaming. I would imagine that there are more depressing songs, but as far as Monster Hunter games go, it is distinct. It just sounds different from everything else. It just sounds so depressing and it just puts you down. It's like, you failed. It's over. Yeah, I get it. Sorry. I'll try again. Fuck off. It's the same when you abandon a quest. If you choose to abandon a quest, you better be ready to get that music playing. Like literally, you go into a gathering quest and you're like, oh whoops, maybe I'll choose a different gathering quest, and you abandon. And you've just failed the fucking world. I mean, everyone's gonna die because you abandoned that gathering quest. How do I know that everyone's gonna die? Well, that's what the music sounds like. I mean, any music that sounds like that has to somehow herald the end of humanity as we know it. So... fucking hell. It's Gypsyros time. Rubber turkey. Wait, what? Fuck off. What's going on? Never mind. I'm going crazy. It's Gypsyros. Relax, Doomlink. I don't know why. Basically, I was reading the key quest list that had previously been posted, which included the Thunderous Duo. And because I must be sleepy or something, I thought I had read on the quest board the Thunderous Duo, and I was like, well, I've been lied to. This isn't Gypsyros, but then I actually opened my eyes and looked and realized that in actual fact we are hunting Gypsyros, and I can rest easy. Also, again for the benefit of those who are unfamiliar with first generation, you will notice that when I ready up for a quest there is no sound associated with it. The first game to have a sound associated with readying up for a quest was Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. Monster Hunter 1, Monster Hunter G, Monster Hunter Freedom 1, Monster Hunter 2, and Monster Hunter Freedom 2 did not have a sound. Freedom Unite was the first. You would think that it would be fairly intuitive to alert the quest host to when you've actually got people readying up for your quest, but no. Never crossed it actually, for a number of years, never crossed Capcom's mind. 4 years of monster hunting. That's what it took. Well, not like they were hunting the monsters. They were making the games to facilitate the hunting of monsters, but they themselves were not doing the hunting. Because if there is anything that we know is that Capcom didn't test their fucking games before they put them out. They didn't do much mod stunting, I can assure you of that. Someone's gonna sit here and, you know, with their furrowed brow and say, "Of course Capcom tested their games, what do you mean?" Well, I'm sure they did, but not in any meaningful way. Here's Jinalgaz. Incidentally, he's the one who saw fit to compare the Freedom 1 Fatalis fight to the Iceborne Fatalis fight. That's like comparing... well, no, I don't want to make any unfair comparison. Or unfair analogies in this case. This Gypsy Roast hunt will be my last. I think we've had a good run. And I've had a good chance to test this PC recording setup. There are certain elements to the setup that aren't all that comfortable, and quite frankly, it relates chiefly to the use of my old green screen. I need to get a new green screen because my old one sucks. It's absolute shit. The comfort value, like the degree of comfort associated with my recording setup, is being sacrificed on account of my shitty green screen. Where's the new stupid Sonic game stream? Well, there are lots of stupid games that I will be recording on this channel, but as far as Sonic ones, I think I've had enough for now. I already did Sonic 2006, so I think that's enough bad Sonic for probably an entire lifetime, to be completely honest with you. What I intend to do is get my hands on the Game Boy Advance Spyro games and give them a fucking try. I want to see how bad those are. I might regret it in a big way. But yeah, I have a feeling that the Game Boy Advance Spyro games are going to be a lot of fun. For like 5 minutes, and then the rest of it's going to be complete misery. I haven't even seen the games. I don't even know if they're good or they're bad. I mean, they might be good, but I don't think they will be. I can't imagine them being good, so... yeah. My hope is that it'll be a bit of a laugh. That's what I'm really hoping. Damn it. Okay, good. I caught him before he could hit me. I'm happy to see that. I'm trying to get the tail, of course, but sometimes it's not that easy. Are there bad Castlevania ones? Well, when you say, aside from the one when I cracked up at the intro, that is the one that springs to mind. That is Nintendo 64 Castlevania. There were 2 Nintendo 64 Castlevania games. Those were Castlevania 64 and Castlevania Legacy of Darkness. Legacy of Darkness I ended up doing a full livestream playthrough of, and to be completely honest, I enjoyed myself more than I expected to. There were parts of the game that I really fucking hated, but there were also parts that I really enjoyed. And I do intend to actually do a livestream playthrough of Castlevania 64. As far as the relationship between Legacy of Darkness and Castlevania 64, they are very similar, but they're different enough that you can enjoy them, even playing them back to back, honestly. But I wasn't about to do that. I had really earned myself a break after having finished Legacy of Darkness. I didn't actually finish the game technically, I finished one run with one specific character. The option had opened up to me to play many other characters, and I wasn't about to do that. I might do it in the future, over the long term, but no. I think I will do some Castlevania 64 next time, and I think that would be good fun. I look forward to doing that. I might actually do that very soon, but what would stop me from doing it soon is the fact that I do actually have a Castlevania Lament of Innocence livestream playthrough running at the moment, which I haven't added to in a long ass time. That hasn't been added to for ages. And I think you'd probably enjoy a bit of that, Paul. It's PS2 era Castlevania, and it's quite nostalgic for a lot of people. For me, I didn't play Castlevania back then. At least not 3D Castlevania. Like in the mid-2000s I was playing Castlevania on the Nintendo DS. And I guess also technically around that time I was emulating Game Boy Advance Castlevania, but yeah, I wasn't playing it on the PlayStation 2. But Lament of Innocence isn't all that bad. There's something about it where I would almost have more fun with the Nintendo 64 Castlevanias because it actually has even more personality than those games. Even though almost in every regard the Nintendo 64 3D Castlevania games are objectively worse, I think there's a bit more personality to them, so I think I'd get more enjoyment out of them. I'm not sure yet, we'll have to see. But it is worth mentioning that I am able to record classic games again, because I've got my setup organised to facilitate that. So, do expect some of that. I will be resuming Castlevania Lament of Innocence very soon. In fact, I might take a little bit of a break from Monster Hunter now that I've done, I think, 4 recordings in a row. And I'll do some Castlevania, some Zelda. I'll do a few things. All stuff on my older consoles that I record off. Anyway, I do thank you all for watching. That's going to conclude Monster Hunter for now. It's going to conclude this particular recording. I will see you all when I'm next doing Monster Hunter or anything else that you'd like to watch. And I hope you enjoyed this recording. Bye bye for now.